Hey everybody, how's it going? It's another beautiful day, so that means it's time for another beautiful cook. Now, this one was interesting for me because I got to use alcohol in this recipe, which I don't typically do. These are champagne cannolis. Now, I'll preface by saying champagne was not the original liquid intended for the use in this recipe. It was actually supposed to be just regular white wine. But because of some ordering errors that I made, I ended up with the champagne. But everything still turned out great. The shells were crispy, the filling was nice and sweet, and everybody enjoyed it. But enough of me blabbing. Watch the video, tell me what you think, and let me know any opinions or additives you would have done in the comments. I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all next time. Alright, well, to begin, all the ingredients are listed on the screen. As I said before, this calls for dry white wine, but apparently champagne works as well. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sift together our flour, sugar, and salt, and work the butter pieces in using your fingertips to get a coarse and sandy texture. Now, you're supposed to cut this butter into small pieces typically, but I went ahead and used the large cube, and it seemed to work out fine for me. So you do whatever you're comfortable with at this point. There's nothing right or wrong about either technique. After you get your sandy mixture, you're going to go ahead and throw in your egg yolk and your white wine / champagne to get a nice smooth dough. Now again, I had to use a little extra champagne to get mine smooth, but for some folks it may work out the first time. Just keep in mind, you can add, but you can't take away, so be very, very careful if you do add any extra white wine to your mixture. After you get that smooth dough, you're going to go ahead and put a ball of that dough onto some plastic wrap, and you're going to seal it up nice and loose. Now, the trick here is the flatter you make this now, the less rolling you're going to have to do when it comes to flattening everything out. So, do as much as you can. Once you get everything flattened to your desire, you're going to go ahead and let that rest while you go ahead and make your filling for the rest of the cannoli. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and whisk up the ricotta cheese in a medium-sized bowl and make it nice and smooth. Now, whatever bowl you use, make sure it's steady because everything else is going to end up going inside of this bowl as well. Now, I used a power whisk to do this, but you can use a regular whisk if you need to, if you have that kind of patience. I obviously did not, but everything turned out well in the end. Once it's all smooth, you're going to go ahead and sift in all your spices. Now, I didn't have allspice on hand, so I used nutmeg, and it ended up just as well. You can't go wrong with nutmeg and cinnamon together. You just can't. Once all that's stirred up in a separate bowl, you're going to go ahead and beat your heavy cream with a whisk attachment until stiff peaks form. This will take maybe a minute or two, but keep your eye on it so you don't overbeat it. Once you get everything stiff, you're going to go ahead and fold all that into the ricotta mixture. And from here on out, it's just a bunch of stirring. So you've done all the hard part at this point, so congratulations. The only thing I will say is make sure that you're very gentle when you fold all this in. If you're not, you're going to beat all the air out of this and it's just going to turn into a creamy mess. And nobody wants a messy cannoli. Once you fold in your cream, you're going to go ahead and stir in your chocolate chips, and then you're going to go ahead and zest a lemon and stir that in as well. Like I said, the hard part was done, and all this is just that extra goodness. Once you stir in those last couple of ingredients, you're going to store your filling for about 30 minutes to an hour. And while that's resting, you're going to go ahead and fry up your cannoli shells. Go ahead and find you a flat surface that you're going to flour, and you're going to place your dough that you had resting out, and you're going to go ahead and roll it out into that 1/8 of an inch. Now these have to be thin to get that nice crispy crunch of the cannoli shell. If you do it too thick, it's going to be a sloppy mess, but if you do it too thin, it's not going to wrap around the cannoli mold. I cut mine out 3 to 4 inch diameter. Depending on what mold you have, you can do it bigger or you can do it smaller. Once you have all your circles cut out, go ahead and wrap it around that cannoli mold and use the egg that you had earlier and gently beat it so you can have an egg wash to seal all your edges. Now be careful with this. I have these big massive gorilla hands, so the delicate work was a little tough for me, but if you do it nice, slow, and gentle, everything's going to turn out just fine. If you're too rough with it, you're going to put holes in it, and then that dough is going to get loose from the mold, and it's going to float to the top and be no good. So just keep an eye out for that. Once you get everything wrapped up, it should take about 2 or 3 minutes per shell to fry a nice golden crispy. Then you can fill her up however way you want. And by the end of it, you should end up with something like this. Now I hope you all enjoy. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.